Welcome back to the WCS Korea Challenger League for Season 2. We are in our third round. We just had a Protoss versus Protoss, and it ends up that Parting is going right back to the Premier League.
Yeah, Parting is in the Premier League now, and Flying, he has to go through the up and downs if he wants to get a chance to advance to the next season.
Yeah, that was a kind of an intense series, but...
Did you see that, by the way?
No, I missed something. What was it?
I had this one moment where I actually was just laughing because the Korean caster, we are already on camera again, and the Korean caster just runs down the alley that we have right in front of us, and he has to go all the way up the stairs. So he's just running like crazy. Apparently he was in the toilet, I have no idea, but everyone's shouting like, go, 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 and he just runs and tries to plug his earphones in and everything. And that was
I'm looking up there at them now, which one was it?
Comedy guy.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he looks a little bit out of breath. I can see that. That's really funny.
He jumped, we can see the casting area of them also from here. So he basically just ran up those stairs and jumped into the seat and tried to make that happen and make this transition. And it was hilarious. It was so good. But at least we know that he's in form. Yeah,
he's definitely in form. That guy is full of energy all the time.
Yeah, we don't measure the 100-meter records of people here. We measure toilet to seat.
Yeah. Sometimes it's tough.
Yeah, sometimes it's tough, but he made it work. And by the way, for everyone out there, I want to put something out. I know that we have a little bit of time different issues with everyone in Europe and of course also in North America. But in Korea, right here where we now have Starcraft 2, it's actually exactly, and I mean for the second, 1337 right now.
Wow, you did that,
yeah, I timed it up.
I watched the numbers go, and you were right. Well, Gwangali Beach is...
This is a pretty lead game right here.
Gwangali Beach is the next map that we're gonna have for this one. So, a bit of a weird map here, but I assume as a Kespa player, True probably has a little bit more experience on this map. But that being said, Keen played in the OSL first to fall down to here, so he's definitely practiced for it.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a really cool match. I'm personally very excited about seeing True because he impressed me so much against Protoss. It's a very different matchup that we have right now, but True is the guy who took down Squirtle and also JYP with the 2-0. And therefore, let's see what he can do against Terran. Has not the best record against Terran, but maybe this game is going to change things. We could actually say that this game is, especially at this point in time, it's 1-3-3-8. It's more than lead, so let's hope that this is going to be a good prediction. Starting into map number 1, which is, as Wolf already said, Gwangali Beach. And yeah, nothing to add, Wolf.
Yeah, nothing to add here. Here we go, Keen, the commander, up against Jin Air Wings True here at WCS Korea Challenger League, Round 3 for Season 2 of 2013. I am Wolf, with me as Cowler. Let's go into Gwangali Beach. I really tried.
You got the timing nearly down.
The map wasn't loaded, that's why we had this problem. But now it's fine.
Here we go, guys. Jumping into game number 1, WCS Challenger League with Cowler and Wolf. The Zerg player that impressed us a lot in round 1 and 2, he starts to the top right of the map. This is
Jin Air Green Wings True.
True had some great results in the first and the second round. I love his keyboard, by the way.
Yeah, me too. I was about to say the same thing.
I really, really like that. But before we talk about his statistics and his run towards the third round of the Challenger League, let's introduce the player to the bottom left for Team MVP. It is the Commander.
MVP Keen.
He is MVP's perpetual starting player. Yep, for the GSTL.
Commander Keen going up against True. And yeah, let's talk a little bit about True. True is in the first round he met JYP and he took him out with the 2-0. Then in the second round he had to face a Squirtle, a very tough Protoss opponent to face. But while True took him also down with the 2-0, didn't drop a single map up to this point, and he advanced to the third round where he's now meeting the MVP Terran player who had to face his own teammate in the second round of the Challenger League here in Korea. Took down Swagger with a 2-0. So now we have for both of them the first Terran versus Zerg that they play in the Challenger League here.
Color, he's going to hatch. He's going to aggressively hatch here. When he sent the drone out that earlier, I was wondering if he was going to do it. He sees King go CC first, and he's pulling a Cats here.
He's going for the Cats build. Well, he's actually pulling a little bit of a different build.
Yeah,
Cats would use the third hatch to block, and what we see here for True is actually the first hatch being built there. Let's see what kind of reaction Keen has. So far, I really like it, because the problem that you have is that a lot of Terran players will panic. They will hit the panic button, pull too many SCVs, or do whatever. But in this scenario, what would be good for Keen would maybe be to get a bunker up there as soon as he can. Not possible at this point, but that would be one of the options.
He needs to know if there's a pool or a hatchery at True's natural here, because with the pool, you know it's going to be a more aggressive build that you really need to worry about a little bit.
You know, he actually has to worry about spine crawlers. We already have 2 additional drones being sent out to the bottom left, and the only reason for them to be there is that spine crawlers will be started as soon as the creep spreads at that hatch.
He's going to have the overlord too.
Here comes an eBay block. I really like this idea. That helps him.
This is really smart, but the bunker, he doesn't have one, and the Overlord is going to give vision to those spine crawlers on the ramp and on the edge once the creep starts to spread.
But Keen made a good choice here. Keen went for the double barracks immediately, and that's a really, really good thing that you can do. And here's also the bunker that has been started. So this is a little bit of a run time, but you can already see the SCVs of the mineral line, and this is a very good choice. Keen is doing this as he has to. He has to do this before the Zergling's out, but the first Marine is already there. As long as he can force a cancel on those 2 spine crawlers, he should be fine.
Yeah, you know the bunker's actually going to finish here as well. Very nicely done. The spine crawler's being started, but one actually misses a cancel.
Great reaction here by Keen. I really like what he's doing. Lifts the supply depot as well, and he takes down all the Zerglings. This is like the perfect reaction against such an aggressive build, and I really love how Keen executed it. I like that True has the balls to play that style in the first place, but still, with him now having a block, natural expand, and no spine crawler at the bottom left, he's in a bit of trouble. But he has the Queen out at least.
Yeah, Keen's engineering base wearing some sunglasses and saying deal with it right now on the other side of the map. He actually gets into the main base with an SCV as well to make sure there's no gas.
Exactly, he knows no gas, and now more and more spine crawlers at the bottom being built. But there are also quite a lot of Marines, and yes, the spine crawler is going to give Keen a little bit of trouble at first, but with all the Marines that he's building right now, he should be able to break through this eventually. And keep in mind, he still can rely on the second orbital that is currently upgrading.
Yeah. Finally, the eBay is being attacked back at home, so he will be able to take that out eventually here. One Marine attacking the hatchery just in the safety of the ramp, so even though the bunker is under fire and now a little bit under pressure, it's being repaired. He's going to kill the hatchery very soon. The tumor that True put down is going to be Keen's biggest annoyance, because he will have to scan to kill that to put his natural down.
Yeah, but what True would have liked is to spread creep towards the middle of the map from this position, and that's something that he never really could do. Now the hatch is gone, that means we don't see a second Queen. That was of course what True was trying to put out there. The double spine crawler is in a really good spot, but at this point you can really see that we have a lot of Marines. We have 9 in total already, and with those Marines you can do quite a bit against this. And you can always just try to take another base and not this one, and move out with those Marines while still blocking the choke point.
Yeah.
But it's not that easy actually to break through this. He will do it eventually, and nice micro here so far, but he has to be very careful with the spine crawlers here being present.
I love watching this type of micro. It's really difficult to pull this off. Keen is pulling it off like a champ, just dodging the spine crawler shots time and time again, doing the damage here. The Queen is about ready for a transfuse. That's going to buy him a little time. And see, if you miss micro for just a second, you lose a Marine instantly there.
Yeah. To the top right, we have the cancel on an engineering bay. There is now an expansion being built for True, but this is a very late expand. Another spine crawler goes down, and there we go. The creep spread towards the middle of the map. Exactly what he wants to do. Yeah, he doesn't see it. He doesn't know that it is there. Oh, now he sees. He sends one Marine over. Great choice here. Cancel by True, and this is when Keen actually says, you know what, I had enough. But I'm not quite sure if he can break through there yet.
Keen has spent a lot of money on the repairs here, but with the mules, he can pretty much make up for it. Will we see a transfuse here? He's going to wait till the last second, it looks like. The Queen has definitely enough energy for that.
The harvester count is really becoming an issue, though. We have 25 to 22 in favor of True, but we have also a double mule here. The problem for Keen is really that True is able to delay his base for so long. He's actually doing a much better job than I thought he would be able to. But with a great position of the spine crawlers here and only one bunker, even with this micro, it's costing Keen a lot of time and also units.
Yeah. I would have liked to see Keen just put the command center at the third base location for a while, you know, or maybe even put it there permanently in this particular situation, but It's always a concern that maybe your opponent gets speed, though, and just attacks you by ground there. It looks like the Spine will finally fall. He doesn't quite have enough for a transfuse. He's going to get one, but that's just one.
Yeah, but that's the time when he moves in with all the Marines, where he says, like, okay, I don't care if I lose one or two. So he moves in with the Marines. Here come those Zerglings trying to do their damage. He has to move back for a few seconds, but he's just going to repeat this a couple of times. A nice transfuse here. That is definitely going to buy True a little bit more time. And every second counts in this scenario, and that's exactly what he has to do. Yeah. So great choice. Once again, the tumor being taken out. Good job here by Keen. But True with this build, I mean, I have to give him some credit for that. That guy is playing a great game here.
Well, will True try to go for one more tumor while the Marines are distracted? That's the question here. Looks like he's not going to. He loses his queen. There's the scan. Needs to use the tumor if he wants to keep it. Nah, it doesn't matter really at this point. He can't get it up.
Yeah, gets all of them, and now, yeah, let's look a little bit at the game that we have. We have still creep at the natural of Keen, so it takes him a little bit until he can really get this started. There's no tech for Keen. He's now starting with his factory. We have 37 harvesters against 48 on 2 bases for the Zerg player. So True is actually in a pretty decent spot here. He's in a much better spot than I thought he would be, because Keen make... Oh, there's already a factory. My bad, sorry.
Yep, factory up, but he's getting a second one in typical Keen fashion. He wants to get as many Hellions out as he can.
But as I said, like, True with a really great strategy here. I really like what he did there, that he had the balls to actually go for such an extraordinary strategy and pulled it off. But Keen is now doing something that is very, very Commander Keen. He's going into the second factory and he adds Blue Flame.
Yep, Blue Flame. And when he gets an armory, if he does, the Blue Flame upgrade, of course, will apply to the Hellbats as well. Keen's natural just so delayed here, and I feel like True has just a massive lead in this game simply because he's already spread his creep quite nicely at home. He has the Roach Warren going down, he's getting his lair, he's adding the evolution chambers. He just has these subtle differences, or these subtle advantages over Keen right now because of the time he's had to mine.
I feel that one of the biggest things in this game was that Keen got that engineering bay up that blocked the potential hatch for True for so long. If that was not the case, then True would have a much bigger lead that he has right now. But in general, Keen is still okay here. He's a little bit behind, but it's not a position where you can't bounce back anymore. He has a decent economy now that he has the command center on the low ground. We have soon to be a 3-base economy for True. But Keen is still on double mule. He has another command center that is building. So he's definitely not in the best spot here, not in the position that he wants to be, but he's not in an unwinnable one, so he can definitely come back into the series and force True to submission.
Roach speed is coming out, which is interesting to me because he's getting the melee upgrades for the ground units, and I thought maybe the Roach one was just going to be a precaution against Keen because everybody knows how much Keen loves his Hellions, but with the Roach speed here and 1-1, it could be speed Roaches with some Baneling Ling support. Kind of a weird build coming out here from True. But Keen's Hellion fall up, he showed the Blue Flame. How much damage can he get done here? With Roaches on the way, probably not a whole lot.
I think he doesn't know about the 3rd base, or does he? I think he didn't see that, because he's walking over the Hellions now, and once he spots that, he can do damage there. But into the natural and the main base with the Roaches on the map, he should not be able to do that damage. But at the 3rd, it's a bit of a different story. If he gets into the mineral line here, and he will, then he can do a lot of damage. How fast is True with the evacuate? He's immediately pulling those drones. That's exactly what he has to do. But here come those Hellions, but the Roaches are in.
There was a lineup on those drones, but Keen could not quite get what he wanted there, and True losing some mining time here, but very happy with his defense. Back at home, Keen getting +1 only, and it looks like Keen may just try to hit a timing. He's also getting some siege tanks. Oh no! He lines them up again!
Yeah, lines them up, and this time he got a decent amount of kills. Not as many as you, of course, would have liked to, but still, the Hellions have to move back. We have a very similar harvester count here, and with the 3rd orbital now coming into play, this is something where True should be a bit concerned. But he still has 3 bases, and I really like how active he is with his creep spread on the map. So double upgrades also faster for True. He could go into +2/+2. Keen is lagging a little bit behind, which is very unusual in this matchup.
Yeah, Keen, he did have a second eBay. I didn't realize. He just got a little bit behind on those upgrades. So with the siege tanks coming out here and the bunkers, it looks like he's very scared of this possible Roach push that's coming out, and so he's just going to play defensively for a little while here. He's actually making several siege tanks. We've seen him do this already in Heart of the Swarm. Even though he adds Widow Mines, he gets a few siege tanks with his army, moves them out with his pushes.
This is one of those games where everything comes down to the decisions that you make, and a great flank here with those Roaches. This is brilliant for True. I love this decision to move those Roaches across the map to try to trap the Hellions. He pulled it off, and Keen is really losing some ground here. He had still a position where he could have tried to come back, but it's now getting like really difficult for him to pull this off. He gets a 4th CC. that will help. But
he has no armor.
In general,
he has no armor, Kelder. He can't start 2-2. Which is something that True is already about a third of the way done with for his ground army.
I love the siege tanks here as a defense wolf, and also the Widow Mines. He's in a very good defensive spot, but there's just so much Zerg on this map. And True is now moving in with 1-1 Zerglings, Banelings, and his Roaches. Maybe Keen can hold with the additional Marauders and also, of course, the new siege tanks that he's getting into the game right now. But this is going to be one aggressive attack. This is going to be like so hard to defend against.
He doesn't have +1 armor just yet, nor are Combat Shield Ray. Both are about to be done. The Roach is blocking some of the Banelings here, which gives that siege tank a great opportunity. A good split on the Marines by Keen, but does he have enough? It doesn't look like it.
The siege tank is immediately being taken out. Another one is already there on top of the ramp, but only getting one shot off before he's killed by the Roaches, and they stream into the main base. The Banelings still taking down the Bioforce. The repair on the bunker is strong, but so many units in the main already by True. True is doing so much damage here.
He's really starting to take out the production facilities, getting so many of the add-ons, the reactors, the tech labs. He repairs a bunker at the natural, but that's no longer relevant with all the Roaches in the main. The second wave of Banelings likely to finish Keen off here. Keen's still fully mining from his third base. It has not been touched at all by anything.
One of the biggest problems for Keen is really that the +2/+2 is going to finish fairly soon. Even if he holds here, he will be down in upgrades, and I don't even think that he will be able to pull the whole off. We have now the lift on the natural base, everything being taken out by the Banelings, the main base still under attack, and Keen is just looking at such a bad position here. Even Baneling traps here.
Yeah.
If those SCVs or Marines move down the ramp, they will explode in an instant.
Exactly. He's trying to remake his wall desperately here. The third base now under fire. Not going to be able to save it. The tank sieging up a second too late.
Do you even live? Yes, he lifts it up and cannot fly to safety. Big problem for him, of course, that he has no source of income anymore.
The Overseer is going to actually reveal the siege tank as well for the Roaches to kill from the low ground. I think that's what's going on exactly right now. And yeah, he tries to take out the siege tank. Unfortunately for him, the repair was good on it, but Keen now down to 77 supply. And
no.
What?
Yeah, I don't think he saw that. Maybe he sees it now.
Yeah.
Okay, one Baneling detonates, but the Roach is still burrowed here, and the additional Baneling, they don't do
Oh, good though. Does not do it.
No. But it doesn't even matter anymore. We have nearly no income left. There comes the second wave of True. He's on 2-2 now against 1-1 upgrades. He's going into his tech with Infestation Pit, can also start hype. Just look at the creep alone, how far that is spread on the map. The creep spread at the third is still blocking the command center. Keen is desperate here, but he is down 50 supply at this point, and I don't want to even talk about the upgrades. So that is like a devastating position for the Terran player to be in.
You know, you are in a very odd spot when you're so desperate that you're starting to research building armor, which has, by the way, been contaminated by the Overseer. And you're trying to get building armor out to survive. This is the situation Keen is in right now. He's hoping that he's the better player in the macro game. He wants to get there no matter what it takes, but I don't think True is going to let him. He's really, really trying here to get that +2 attack upgrade out, but the Infestors and the Hive Tech are on the way back at home.
True already has units in his main base to account for potential drop play, which is not going to be an issue for him, but he has the units there, so he knows whatever comes, whatever happens, he will be ready for it. He looks at the game and he's like, well, I took out your bases, I took out so much of your army, I crippled your economy, you're down in upgrades, I still have units in your main, I'm going to Hive Tech already. What could possibly win you the game? Maybe if I'm not prepared for drops, so let's just get a few units over there, buy myself the time that I need to get my Hive Tech out. You will not be able to just get those bases up again. He's mining from 3 bases still with his main base already depleted, so he's on 4 bases against a 2-base Terran player that only mines from 1 and is trying to get a third now.
Keen is just really trying to hold his ground right now. He's setting up a defensive third. He takes the third that's a little bit closer to his natural, where he has a better defensive position rather than trying to get the one that's blocked by an Overlord. And True, a massive supply lead here, but the later the game goes on the Roaches, he's going to want to trade those. He never got any upgrades for the Roaches, of course. Not going to make a single additional Roach. He wants to make sure he trades those okay. Remaxes with most likely Ultras. He has the Hive Tech now. He's starting 3-3.
3-3 adrenal glands, and the lead in upgrades is still there. This is a game where True is basically saying, I know that I'm far ahead, I know that I have a good shot at taking the game right now, but I really want to win this, and I feel that I have the better options if I just play it safe at this point. He gives, of course, Keen a little bit of time to stabilize and recover, but I really doubt that he will give Keen the time to really build up this big army that the Terran player needs now.
Yeah, his upgrades are just so behind Keen, that is, so he's not going to have this 3-3 moment where he can start doing a crazy amount of damage.
There are 56 Banelings already. 56 of them.
And here we go, he's actually getting ready to attack. Setting up a flank here.
Moving in before any Adrenal Glance or anything else is done. Here come those Widow Mines. Maybe he's getting good hits at first, but that Planetary is going down with another few Baneling hits. In just a second, it will be eliminated, but no.
He has building armor, don't forget. So that Planetary lasting a little bit longer. Here's some infested Terrans being dropped. The Roaches pushing through. The Roaches do not have upgrades, but Keen already at half the supply of his opponent. The Remax is with Zerglings.
And we have such a huge bang for True, whereas Keen doesn't have any money to rebuild his army. Here's the GG, as expected. True with a very good strategy in game number 1, designed to take on Keen, and Keen with initial really good responses, but then the follow-up for the Zerg player was just way too good.
Really, really solid follow-up. Really like that Engineering Bay block, but Keen, he didn't see what was coming until it was too late. He had a few siege tanks. Losing his Hellions was also a really big problem for him. Didn't get a whole lot done with those. And he just had such a big problem retaking his natural, especially with the Spines and the Queen.
Keen made some really great choices in this game, but the better player definitely being True, and also the player who prepared a lot better for this match, I feel. You could really see how much time and effort was put into this build, and how he just messed with those timings. And it's a game, when such a game occurs where you have such weird builds, a lot of the decisions that you make is basically freestyle. There are no timings anymore, like where you know exactly when your opponent is starting to attack or where he's supposed to have those medivacs out. Everything just goes down the drain, and that is what True really capitalized on. So a great performance by him. And that's kind of what we expected after his games against Squirtle and JYP. But Keen is someone that you always have to account for.
Never count out the Keen.
Yeah, I feel like Keen is looking at this right now. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you in game number 2.
He's like, just wait. If I didn't get my hatchery or my CC blocked, then this would be a completely different game. I know you're not going to do that to me again on Belcher Vestige. I won't let you. And that is our map number 2. It could be the final map. True could go right back into the Premier League if he wins this final map. Keen, on the other hand, he wants the same fate.
Keen wants to take this game. He wants to go into the 3rd map between the two of them. But True, can he make the 2-0 happen? So far, he didn't lose a single map in the Challenger League. This is his 5th win in a row here, and we are going into map number 2. Belcher Vestige, True versus Keen at the WCS Challenger League. Colin Wolf.
You gotta get into it!